I wanted to do a video and do a brief story of why I went vegan in the first place, because I was the last person on earth who would have gone vegan. Trust me, I would have never gone vegan had I not developed type 2 diabetes. In fact, I probably would have been the leader against vegans. I'm the type of guy who would have said, look, let me make my choice. That's great. You want to eat the fruits and the vegetables and the plants and seeds and whatever. Have fun. Go do your thing. I don't care at all. That's great. Good for you. But let me eat my fucking steak. Hands off my fucking steak. You go a step too far when you tell me what I can put in my mouth. Okay? And trust me, I have a bit of a bulldog personality. I would have defended that point of view. And then I started to get some high blood sugar results. Now, there is some diabetes in my family. My father developed type 2 diabetes. My full brother developed type 2 diabetes. And then a half brother has type 1 diabetes. Okay, so diabetes is fairly rampant in the family. So when I got my blood sugar levels that were getting a little bit high, it wasn't a big surprise other than the fact that I was by far the healthiest of the two, my father and my full brother, who had developed type 2 diabetes. They weren't exercising at all. Myself, I do exercise. As you can tell, I'm not a chubby guy, right? I've been playing high-level sports my entire life, university basketball, semi-pro basketball in Vancouver, just a shit ton of basketball all my life. So that part was a little bit weird, and the doctors didn't really understand that. I'm 33 now, but when I was getting my high blood sugar results, I was younger. I think I was 29 when the first ones were getting kind of like abnormal. And so the doctors, I'm young, I'm fit, I'm eating well, exercising all the time. So it didn't make a lot of sense to them. And every doctor I told, they're like, what? Like, you're on metformin? That's crazy. I agree. That is crazy. It tells you that something was winning, right? Like, in hindsight, it's like, okay, you're doing all these things right, but you must be doing something wrong for this diabetes to be coming. That's assuming it's not 100% out of your control, right? If diabetes is totally out of your control, that's just, your cells can't use the insulin over time for type 2 diabetes, then what are you going to do, right? That's one point of view. But there's another point of view, which is you could be causing it. There's something that you're doing that's allowing the diabetes to win out over all these good. So I got an abnormal A1C reading probably when I was about 29. Then they maybe do some more tests, so like a fasting glucose and then a few other A1C tests over the next few months. I think finally it had been creeping up over a number of years, and then finally it got to be 6.6, I think is when they put me on metformin, which might have been a little bit soon. But anyway, I was on metformin. Now, what I found very interesting is what they told me, right? They told me at the time it was fine, but in hindsight, it's curious, right? Listen to this. So they told me it's going to get worse until I die. That's thing number one. Worse until I die, which is going to mean you're going to need more and more metformin, and eventually you're going to need to switch to insulin and be taking insulin with your meals to counteract the carbohydrates, right? And then the other thing that they told me was to control the carbohydrate intake. Watch for high glycemic index foods, and then don't eat a lot of carbs in general. Don't eat a bunch of rice and fruits and stuff like that. Really control how many carbs you're pumping into your body. So this is very interesting, right? Carbs are very, very healthy. Very healthy. Oats, beans, grains, right? Very good for you. The other thing that's interesting is it's going to get worse until I die. That sounds to me like the pharmaceuticals are going to be making more money until I die, right? Anyway, I didn't really think of that at the time. I just thought of that as them helping me, them saving me, like with the metformin and the drugs, right? So that was, a pill to swallow. And so it was fine. It's you take things in stride. You get dealt some bad news. What are you going to do? You're going to work with it and move forward. So that's what I was doing. I had accepted that I'm a person that has type 2 diabetes, that it is out of my control. There's nothing that I can do about it other than taking the metformin, exercising regularly, of course, which I was doing and was going to continue to do, and then just keeping tabs on things and not eating a lot of carbs. And then one day, I'm just out for an internet surf, and what pops up on my screen is a channel called Mastering Diabetes. And I think it's two doctors, and on their homepage, it's a video of some dude reversing type 2 diabetes. I think the video that I clicked on was reversing type 2 diabetes, which up until that point, I thought was impossible. I've been told it's going to get worse until you die, right, by my doctors, right? So I'm like, great, clickbait. This is kind of cool. This is kind of fun. Let's do this. Let's go for a little ride. So I click on it, and I'm like, okay, I know that they're wrong. I know that the Mastering Diabetes channel was wrong because my doctors has already explained everything to me, so I already knew what's up. And as I watched the video, I'm like, I know you're wrong, but I don't know where yet. I'm gonna find it though. And as I watched more and more and saw more and more examples of folks reversing their type 2 diabetes entirely, it made me curious and more curious, right? And he was eating like a mango salad. He's like, here's my diabetes salad, and it's like a mango salad. I think he had like type 1 or something like that. I don't know. And I was like, what the hell are you doing eating a mango salad when you have diabetes? That's insane. So it was very curious, right? And I started to click on more and more of these type of videos. And I found that there's a shit ton of doctors now that are just like, oh yeah, type 2 diabetes? Oh yeah, it's caused by food. You're eating too many animal products. Stop doing that. Type 2 diabetes is gone. I was mind blown. Like nutritionfacts.org, Mike the Vegan, those are great sources of information. And there's so many others now that are out there. So I thought I'd give it a shot, right? It's like, this is awesome. I could potentially not need to take drugs, heal my body, get rid of the diabetes. That sounds great. Let's give that a shot. So I did. And in February 2018, I stopped eating animal products entirely. I went full vegan. Now keep in mind, my transition to veganism was, until I went vegan, I was eating meat at every meal. Every snack was a couple pepperoni sticks and a glass of milk. Every pizza was like meat lovers pizza. I'd go to the 7-Eleven for a snack and get like those skewers of like chicken, not wings, but like chicken tenders or whatever. I'd get a couple of those because they're super cheap. I would always eat meat and milk. I loved milk. I drank so much milk, I can't tell you. I would out milk drink anybody. Especially coming back from a basketball practice, I would down 2 or 3 glasses of milk. Chocolate milk, regular milk, I don't care, I'll drink it all. Love that stuff. So I went from that to total vegan in the span of like a couple weeks maybe. Right? It was the introduction of the information came to me. The idea was incepted. These Mastering Diabetes guys went into my dreams and incepted me. And then over the next couple of weeks, I thought it was my own idea. And once I thought it was my own idea, I could stand behind it and be like, that's a good idea. I'm going to try that. And so I did. So then the question is, what happened with my A1C levels? Because I went vegan, and when I had just finished a blood test right before I decided to go vegan. So I'm like, this is convenient. This is extremely convenient because my next blood test, it'll show the results of the veganism. So I didn't listen to my doctors, and I didn't take I stopped taking the metformin after that blood test. Okay, stopped taking the metformin and went vegan at the exact same time. My A1C was 6.6. It went down to like 6.1, I think, and then 3 months later it was up again to the highest it had ever been. This was while I was vegan, so it went up to 7.1 on vegan. Now, what I'll say about this is that my A1C now is like 5.9. It's the lowest it's ever been right now after a prolonged stretch of veganism. Still no drugs. Same exercise routine. So right now I'm not diabetic at all. And what I'll say about the really high level is that once I went vegan and the blood sugar level came down again, I was like, yes, I've solved it. I've solved this issue. I can eat as much candy and chips and whatever. I didn't eat any animal products, but there's tons of vegan candy and shit. Like Swedish berries are vegan, like Oreos. I was just like, sweet. Because remember, there'd been 4 or 5 years where I'd been worried about my carb intake and sugars and all that stuff because I thought that's what I needed to do, just control sugars, eat as many animal products as whatever, which incidentally was causing my diabetes. So I was just eating more and more of the things that were causing it. And yeah, so once I got that first low blood sugar rating, I thought I was invincible and that I'd solved everything and I can eat whatever the hell I want. So I just pounded in the junk food. And yeah, so I think that, and the super high fatty foods like chips and stuff like that. So I think that's what spiked it. And I was like, okay, whoa, I'm not Superman. I'm not Superman. And then I went towards a much more whole food, plant-based diet after that. And things went down to, my A1C was, like I said, 5.9. It's the lowest it had ever been. And the doctors were like, wow, like how did that happen? You must be exercising more. I'm like, yeah, sure, right? The doctors didn't really have an explanation. They were just like, great, good for you. Like, this is great news. And yeah, great. Yeah. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, by the way, you could take drugs and it could get worse for your entire life and you'll have to take more and more drugs. It'll be harder and harder on your body. Or you can just stop eating animal products and then you're good. And that's that. You'll be healthier. You don't need to take any drugs at all. Right? If there's a way you can live your life without taking drugs and without getting diseases, and then there's a way you can live your life where you get diseases, terrible diseases that take tens of years off your life, and you have to take drugs, which probably have a whole host of other side effects, which one do you think we're meant to live in? Which one do you think the human body was meant to live in? Right? Like, now, once I saw this point of view where it's like, well, wait, probably eating animals is wrong, and it's killing us. Probably it's better to not eat animals and live a healthy life. That there went all my reasons to hurt animals. Because when I was that spearheading the campaign against vegans, mind your fucking business. When I was doing that, it was under the assumption that I required nutrients from the animals. That was my whole thing of eating animals and why their pain and their suffering was irrelevant, and I had the moral authority to ignore their pain and suffering. In fact, I didn't even consider their pain and suffering. They were there for me. I didn't even spend a second thinking about their pain and suffering. It's just the way things worked. I need my meat, obviously. I need the nutrients, obviously. Obviously, they're there for me. So there's not even a discussion. It's not even a thought, let alone a discussion about their pain and suffering. It was an extremely selfish point of view. But I'm sure that it's one that many people share. Most people in the world probably share that point of view of not even being open to a discussion about it because they're under the assumption that they require the nutrients in the animal. I think I was just like an average guy, to be honest. So quick recap. I exercise all my life. I get high blood sugar. I develop diabetes. They tell me it's going to get worse forever until I die. I find information online saying that you can totally reverse type 2 diabetes. Don't listen to them. I do. I reverse type 2 diabetes. And although at one time I would have spearheaded the campaign against vegans, I now see that it's insane what we're doing to animals and ourselves, and it needs to stop. And now I'm on the exact opposite end of things, and I'm not spearheading, but I'm helping out with as many vegan campaigns as I can. Get my little paws into whatever I can, whatever vegan pies I can, to help us not eat animals and become much healthier, to help us witness the pain and suffering that animals go through, and to help the animals and stop them from being killed and eaten needlessly. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Hanging out with you was awesome. I hope you liked it, and I hope you want to hang out again. Thank you.